Good morning. I'm Desiree Dubois, founder of An Empowered Woman and Homework. And Homework is where you can live where you work where you live, anywhere in the world. And every Wednesday morning, we meet with some of our members and they share their different businesses, opportunities, products, programs, and services for the busy professional. So today, I'm happy to announce that our member, Nika Roback, is with us. And she's an interior decorator and the founder of Unique Interior Designs. She's going to talk about the 5 timeless tips that will, create that you can utilize in your interior design as well as your short-term rentals. So, good morning, Nika. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and share my knowledge with
You
everyone.
are, you are welcome. Okay, I am going to pin you as well. So, tell us about your background as far as interior design. I know that you
Okay.
work with the East Coast, West
Yes,
Coast.
East Coast, West Coast, yes. Well, I'm originally from Texas. I didn't really do design there necessarily, although I did have fun with my own rooms and houses and stuff. But so I didn't even realize, I guess, in some ways, because I designed all my furniture and I didn't even, still wasn't thinking, oh, I'm an interior designer. But I went back to school for interior design. I moved to California. I went to UCLA. And then right at the end of my schooling, I met someone and I moved to New York. So the first 8 years of my career in interior design was in New York. So that's the East Coast. And then I moved back here several years ago and just continued to do the interior design. I do a lot of heavy lifting, meaning like working with the contractors and ripping things out and putting them back together. It's a lot of technical with plumbing and electrical for sure. So the softer side, I always call that the fun stuff that if I get to do the living rooms and the bedrooms and things. So anyway, and then a few years ago, I got into real estate investing as well. So I'm very excited. I love the short-term rentals. I'm very happy to be working on this project with you, Desiree. Yeah, so I like combining in the fact that I have that talent for that and the raising capital. So that's what I do in the real estate investing. Flips I've done before. I'd like to get into development as well. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, is there a difference between East Coast and West Coast styles?
Yes.
Oh, really? What would you say the difference would be?
Well, I think the difference is, well, especially California, we have, because of our
Architect?
weather here, it's a very inside outside living. So I think that people bring in nature a lot more here and the warmth. Because in New York, everything is a lot of the design was very cold and very sleek and modern sometimes. I mean, even when you did traditional, it wasn't as much of really bringing the outside in. So I'm glad to be back because I do like that part. That's one of my points in my that I think everyone should do. Even in New York, I try to do that a little bit. I was like, you need some more, you need some more. But yeah, so I think that's the main difference because of the inside out. And there's obviously a lot more outdoor living that people do here. So yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, you are a co-host, so you can start your presentation anytime you
Okay.
are ready to share screen. Because it's funny because you said I would be thinking that because they have a lot more brick, they have a lot more, those type of elements where we have our architect is different. So the basis of the work with the bones that you work with. They have a
Right.
lot of
Well,
a lot of older homes, which has a lot more personality.
well, I don't know. I mean, I worked in the city mainly, so I didn't really deal with the exteriors because a lot of it is condos and high-rise buildings. So, I mean, I was dealing on the inside of it.
Yeah.
The one thing, you couldn't really move things there very much either, because you were in big buildings. So, so that was, one aspect to, the clients were great though. They're very hands off. They're like, do what you need to do. Don't talk to me.
Unlike Californians.
Californians are like, oh, they are very involved here, very involved.
That's interesting. That's an interesting fact.
Even right now, I'm doing a bathroom for somebody that I knew in New York. He reached out to me. I did an advertisement on LinkedIn, from social media. And then he reached out and said, oh, I'm thinking about doing my bathroom, can you help me? And I was like, okay. So during this pandemic, I did that. We're still working on it. It's almost finished this week. I vetted the contractor through Yelp and like called him and FaceTime to look and see how his work was. And I mean, it was kind of crazy that it's all been remotely, and I'm trying to like see and look at the colors through the video, but it's been interesting. Yeah. So
Can be done though.
it can be done. Yes. Yes. I think a kitchen might be a little more difficult, but it was a small bathroom. So, yeah, it's been okay. All right. Let me pull this up so I can have it completely ready. I pushed, accidentally hit that instead of
Okay. All right.
share.
So you find that while you're doing that, I'm going to remind, oh, there you go. Remind the ladies
Is it
of
up?
any questions, ideas, yep, it sure is. Any questions, any ideas, any thoughts that they have, anything they like, then this is 6 interior design tricks. So we're gonna get one more than we
Maybe
more than we
hopefully
want, more than we asked for.
Maybe I counted wrong when I told you.
There we go. That's fine.
Okay.
Get started.
So, yeah. So here's my unique interior designs. And here's my little tagline that I came up with: enhance your home, enhance your life, because I do believe that your surroundings help you feel better. All around, we all feel good when we have pretty things around us. So, and it can be also healthy if you do sustainable building and materials as well. So, 6 interior design tricks that all non-designers need to know. So, it's like so big on the screen. This is actually, this is the only picture that's really mine, but that I did. This was a client in New York that she basically left town, and she only told me her only direction was just don't clutter it. And I'm like, what interior designer is going to design cluttered, but and if you see, it's very like Californian in a way. All the colors are Californian, but so it said a world of difference between a room designed by a professional interior designer and one done by a home decorator. From balancing color schemes to hanging artwork, planning, lighting, positioning furniture, and more complex rooms such as kitchens and bathrooms, designers have a box of tricks that can turn an average house into a fabulous home. I might have to move this. How do I get this thing to go to the top? Kind of across the top. Can you see this where everybody is on?
See everything.
Oh, here, at least I'll make it to where it's only you. Okay. So one thing that is a big that sometimes people have a hard time with is that they don't use their whole room. They think that they have to put all the furniture around on the walls. They have to be on the walls. And then they kind of end up having blank space in the middle of their room, or it's just not as well laid out if you don't use your whole room. So this is kind of a point of that. And I had a client in New York also that was just like had a real hard time with it, but because it is weird if you were to walk into a space and you just see the back of the couch, but ways around that are basically to kind of put these little tables you've all seen where you put a little table. You can put plants across the back. You can put maybe some lights that are on the back. I mean, there's many different ways. It doesn't have to just be a little table that you use for the space, but basically too, in this show kind of how you turn everything in and you can create a section. And you see how this is very open, and well, they have a little wall here, but they created another little area here. You can see the delineation that basically from like having the big rug, then that is the space. So you can have one big room and have tons of different things and section it off. Also between a lot of times in a big lofts, when you want to have a separation, maybe between your living room and a bedroom, you can use those, even a bookcase, to where you can kind of still see through. It doesn't completely block everything, but it gives that delineation between the spaces. So that is one thing. That's what I'd said, a console or bookshelf, a few armchairs, make sure you face them towards the sofa. That was what I said for that. So this one is the one that I really love. I learned this one in school, and it makes a huge difference, because this is where I think it sets it off between someone just picking out pretty things for their house and having a designer, is really playing around with the scale. Because then you look in someone's room and everything's all at the same level. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe it could all look nice, but the idea is you got to have some things, like in this one, you see how they mounted a light way up here, so it draws your eyes up, because they have very tall ceilings. So they put this here, they put this huge plant. I love doing that with plants, or with big lamps, have a tall lamp in the corner. Sometimes it's hard to find those tall lamps, but they have little short lamps. But you can do it here again, how it shows like the delineation. This is a bit strange, but they put their wine over where their sofa is, but I'm assuming the kitchen's in there. But you can do that with a bookshelf, or even a cool sculpture that you find or have made. Another thing too, I like doing, I like having big statement pieces. So like, as you can see here, that they did a really big piece of artwork. I think that really helps too, especially if you have one big wall, or you can do a bunch of little ones and create a scene for when you've seen people do that with photos or with mirrors. You can do that with wall sculpture and kind of have a whole theme for the wall that's actually really cool, and that can kind of play around with the scale as well. Upscaling a piece of furniture, maybe have one big piece of furniture and then things around it. Honestly, the funny thing is with this one is that I think that this little table is a bit too small. But that's just my only side note with that one. Lamps and pendant lights, that's what I said already, without taking up too much space. I like how they had here, I don't know if you can see that they even have a projector. That's kind of cool. But and I would have actually chose a little bit bigger rug to kind of come back here underneath the sofa a little bit more, but it's just my other point. I like big rugs too. I don't like carpet at all. I like doing hardwood or all, hard surfaces. Or if you're going to do tile, I like to do radiant heating underneath it and then have big rugs. You can change those out. I found when we were researching for our project in San Diego, these washable rugs. So that's like one thing that kind of ties into the short-term rentals. You got to think of durability and price, of course, too. But these washable rugs, that was really cool. It actually pulls apart from the padding, so it becomes really thin that you throw that in to be washed. It's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have that on the link. So warm it up with wood. I'm like a big proponent of this. This whole gray craze that everybody was like gray and white and gray and white and gray and white. I'm like, okay, nice, but at the very least, let's, have wood somewhere. The best one that I like to do is that instead, if someone wanted to have their gray and white everywhere, I said, please, let's at least not do also a gray and white floor. You're really going to end up having it be so cold. So I said, let's get, kind of a more of a wood tone. Or even if it was kind of gray and white, that it had an undertone of the brown underneath it to kind of bring in a little bit of warmth somewhere. The best place also to do it, if you still wanted to have like how they still had, kind of their white and gray floor. I mean, they had a little bit more color with this blue and everything, but I really like this contrast with the concrete. And then they did this wood accent wall. I'm really big with accent walls. That's one thing with the short-term rentals that is one way for not so much that you can really change the whole space with an accent wall, whether it be that you do it with something that's wood or color, you can paint it. I'm going to show you some in a minute that you can paint whatever color that you want to paint it. So you can also lay behind a bed is a perfect place to do it in a master bedroom or in the living room. You have to kind of pick which wall that you're going to do it with. But if you use, the molding that is like just little pieces of molding that they use, either a chair rail, but I'm actually thinking a little smaller than that, a quarter round or just the edge piece that you can make it, you can just have them glued to the wall and make an effect on it. And that's really inexpensive to do. So you can really want a focal point of 3D wall. Okay. I'm not reading these. I'm just going off of, what I know. So, and people always I like to kind of show things in the photos because people are very visual. And when you can show them in the photo, I think it's kind of cool too, that this was just sitting here. I've done that a lot where I do like big mirrors that instead of hanging them on the wall, I'll have them just sitting on the bottom, on the floor and have it still go up the wall. I think that was actually pretty cool. But you can see even in here with the scale that they put this little flower, but it's not the same height. You want to arrange things at all different heights for the scale. Even here they did like a shorter one and a bigger one, and then they put the lamp on it. You kind of layer it. That's one thing, the big thing with interior design, layering things as well. So
I noticed that the light fixture too has.
I love the light fixture. It's awesome.
It has different.
Yeah, the different levels.
Different levels, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not like the one.
I love this tuft look with the padding, with the cushion padding, and the colors are magnificent.
Yeah, I like this too. Like one thing, well, we were talking about durability for short-term rentals. Fabrics maybe aren't like the best choice, possibly get more like that pleather or the kind of the faux leather so you can wipe it up a little bit more. So this wouldn't be really the best for short-term rental, but yeah, but it is nice, especially for me. I like doing something along these lines with this coffee table. If people have young children that can run into the coffee table or get hurt, it's kind of nice to do more of an upholstered piece. Or sometimes I use it. Has a coffee table here too, but sometimes I use this as the coffee table, and then I just get one of those, like a big tray or something, so then they can set that on for their drinks and things like that.
Is this your rental?
No, these are just photos I found online. I like to just find something that has what I'm talking about. Yeah, so.
Okay, gorgeous.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I love this. So get your rug right. Rugs are the ultimate way to bring a whole design scheme together. And also it's one thing too, that if you keep everything else neutral and you kind of do something crazy with a pattern or color in your rug, it's the first place that, if you wanted to change the room later, that you can change the rug and the accent pillows and things like that. Maybe the wall, if you had an accent wall color, you could change that to tie in with the rug. That is a lot less expensive to do than changing everything else, because that's what I do, or at least that's what I tell people also is, let's go crazy with the rug and an accent wall, and then that can be changed in 5 years if you get kind of sick of that color or want to go with a different scheme, but stay neutral for the chairs and things like that. Sometimes I get like maybe one crazy accent chair if I want a pattern or someone wants a little more excitement. But I kind of keep it neutral, and then I do it with accents for the colors to bring in the color. One thing to note about the rug, and like I was saying before, I like really big rugs. I like it to take up like the whole seating area in the living room, possibly even all the way to the wall, and have all the furniture in it. At the very least, to be underneath the couch all the way, and then you can't have two parts of the legs off the rug. It's just weird. So when you have an accent chair, same thing like this, a lot of people do this in the dining rooms, that they'll get the rug and it's only underneath the table. And it's the craziest thing, because then you end up having two of your legs on the rug and two of the legs off. And for one, that's a bit dangerous. And it's just not, right. You want to have it big enough, as I said here, to have the furniture feet are all on top of it, especially in the dining area. You don't want anybody falling over. So yeah. And it also gives you that wow factor when you do bigger, like when you do that, a bigger piece of artwork, it kind of makes a statement. And like I said, I really like statement pieces. I think that can really make the room amazing. And it also goes to scale as well too, because then you have something big and you have the other pieces around. So it helps in that sense as well. Go ahead, Desiree, you said something?
No, so yeah, it was also like you talk about the short-term rentals, even the slide before, if you, in lieu of having the fabrics, because we talked about how they, they can pick up, oils, skins, it's not as durable in short-term rentals. But if you have like a feather or anything else, you can always soften it with throws, soften it with a
Yeah.
fur throw or soften with that. And the same thing in for the floors in short-term rentals is better to have the hard floors, whether it's a tile or wood or laminate, because it's easier to clean and it's easier, it lasts longer, but you can create that coziness by having the area rugs. Like I said, you can be in there for a couple period of time. If you get tired of it, you can get it cleaned or you can change it around, so that you're not stuck with it. And it's just much, it works perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, although, putting carpet in initially is a less expensive route in the beginning, but these days with the laminates and the vinyl, they're not that expensive. You can even get nice quality for $2, and I wouldn't get $1 because those are real crap, but at least $2 to $3 a square foot. And seriously, they're all click. If you get somebody really handy, you could maybe even take a little class yourself and do it. But yeah, you could probably even get away if you were having, watching over him, possibly a handyman or something, because it is a click system. It's pretty easy to install. So.
And if you wind up buying a place or renting a place that has carpet in it, you still can put these carpets on top of it, just to give it again that flash of look, or that, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I've done that once where I put a rug over carpet. Don't love it, but in a pinch, and if that's what you have, it does at least protect the carpet, and it still gives you some beauty and design. So the power of 3. So that was, you were talking about how all those different hanging things. The 3 is a magic number when it comes to design. You always want to kind of work in odd numbers. Even I still even have this totally ingrained in my head. Even when I get a vanity light, I get a 3 or a 5. When I do things over the kitchen island, I like to do 3. Even if it's one that's 1 and then you have 3 things. And the same thing, I like to kind of have it at varied heights. I just think it kind of adds something to it. But like these are awesome. And they also are a little different size too. So I think that's pretty cool. The power of 3 and the groupings. You can have the same thing. If you're grouping for vases, you put a little 3 there. It's kind of nice. Cushions, pictures, and like candles, things like that. It forces to move around the display, creating a level of interest that either symmetrical and even numbered arrangements can't compete with. A lot of people are very symmetrical. That's one challenge with clients, that they're just, they have to have everything like so symmetrical sometimes, but I think it's a little bit more interesting for it to be asymmetrical, or again, that you're kind of layering it in. Let me see, I was going to point out some things here. If I can't tell, because I think that's partly from the outside, but I like kind of how this is also hanging down in. I just love this room. It's beautiful. I like how they this is the California with the outside in for sure. I like that they sort of tied in the wood with their wood from the walls. It helps to sort of bring your eye down from that ceiling and bring into the room. The green obviously kind of brings in from the outside in, and then they kept everything else neutral. You can see a lot of the, see if this piece wasn't there, think about what the difference it would be for this space. Everything would be low and nothing would draw your eye up. This is an awesome piece that it's just like in the grand scale of it, that it really like commands presence in the room and helps to then draw your eye up and bring everything together. So that's another point of scale for sure as well. And then see here, how they put something behind the sofa. So it's not that it's just completely open back there, so they can have it in the middle of the room. So all of these different things, I'm trying to bring it all comes together when you're thinking of the designs. Someone said something, there was a question.
Yeah, I had a question. This is Adana. TV placement is always like the biggest bane for me trying to design a room. Can you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that and like what
yeah,
may
okay.
have gone into what is in this picture and what you consider?
Yes, okay, good. So ideally, you're supposed to have the TV when you're sitting on the couch and you think about it, that's at your eye level. So it usually should be lower than what most people do. The challenging part is that a lot of times we like to put it over the fireplace. So it ends up being kind of high. I mean, it is a nice thing to have it over the fireplace. So one thing you can do if you wanted to lower it and still kind of have it on the fireplace, if you wanted to redo the fireplace, then you can make it more sleek, kind of how this is, by putting like a big piece of tile or sheets, and then, lowering the mantle or not having a mantle at all. Then you can have the TV a little bit lower. Another thing that I've done in pinches, that if you can't put a TV like on a piece of furniture or it's a weird layout for where it is, I've put it like on a wall and on one of those swinging arms that comes out. So then you can have it where you want to place it that seems logical, especially like in bedrooms sometimes, or even for living rooms that there isn't a good place, then you can think of those. Like if there's something that you can pull it out and push it back. Oh, I've done that actually in like kitchens too, where they kind of wanted to have it against the wall, but have it available for the people while they're cooking. You can do, I love those where those swing arms. A funny thing that I like for bedrooms is you have a little piece at the bottom of your bed and then the TV comes up. That's cool. If you wanted to watch, something in your TV. For living rooms, like I pointed out with that, I've done a lot of where you project it. So then you don't really need, but then you got to have like kind of a wall that's free of space, or you have something that comes down also so you can project the TV onto the wall. Probably not the least expensive thing to do for a short-term rental, but yeah. But at least mounting it on the wall. It doesn't have to be over the fireplace. Like I said, I think it's sometimes way too high, so you can leave a big, nice piece of artwork and put it somewhere else. Does that help?
It does, thank you.
Okay. So, okay, I love this photo. This one is about, the next point or tip is about repetition. I get this a lot because, people get caught up in, okay, well, I've picked the square design, or then everything they wanted, then that's the same thing. And the kind of matchy that everything has to be square, or then everything has to be curved because I've chosen, circular. I like to mix the two. And, you still want to have, like, if you had one circular chair and that was it, and nothing else was round in the room, then it would look a little off. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about repetition. So you do want to have it match somewhere. Like in here, I wouldn't necessarily, they have the curve repeating and it kind of flows from the chair. So then your eyes move around. They have a lot of curves in here, but you wouldn't necessarily, you could have done a square couch, but I mean, they have a lot of curves in this one, but they did it with having a curved coffee table. I like curves. In general, it softens the space, and we're female, I guess. So when I have women clients, they tend to pick a little bit more of curvilinear things than the men do. But see, they even, at least if this would have also been curved, not that it's very easy to find a curved sideboard, but it's nice to mix the two. I just think it's really beautiful. Even they still had, they had linear over here, and even in the two spaces, then they have linear and the curved. So I like the combination of the two. And you can see even how it juxtaposes against that. This has the herringbone effect on the floor. So, and they even did more kind of squares in the rug. So they really kind of did both, which I think is actually quite nice. But But yeah, it's nice to have it somewhere. So if you were going to pick some curves, then maybe you put it in the lamp and the chair, or the curve in this and pick a curved chair. But if you had one circular table and then nothing else was circular, it would be nice to kind of tie in, even if it was a circular floor lamp, you know, do it somewhere that brings the harmony together with the shapes. Let's see. It's very hard to actually find a curved sofa. I do love it though. They're awesome. Okay, I think I covered all that. And that was it. Was that 6? I don't even, yeah.
Yeah, it must have been.
I wanted to show you, I can just show you some more things and talk a little bit more about short-term rentals in general. But if there's any questions first, and then I'll move on and I'll show you what we're doing with our short-term rentals.
Yes, well, while you're pulling that up, they'll take the questions. Anyone have a question? Put it in the chat and I can repeat it. I can share it. Or if you just want to unmute and ask a question while we pull it up, because this is exciting what we're doing. I have one question though. Would you have a curved couch and then square chairs or boxy chairs? If you had a curved couch, or would you kind of go through a, you can do the mix.
Curved couch and then boxy chairs. I mean, it would really depend how boxy they are, I think, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't think that you would have to match, everything would have to be curved, you know.
Okay.
But I wouldn't just have the curved couch and not have curved anywhere else at all, you
Right.
know.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I would
the
at least
lighting, you can be in the
have the
lights.
lighting, or at least a coffee table.
A round mirror, there's a round mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and mirrors and lights, coffee table, other things, maybe the side table. Yeah.
I noticed that while you pull it up and we're in chat while they do. Adana says, what's the best approach when?
Oh, yes.
What's the best approach when deciding what furniture to keep or get rid of? If it's for the short-term rental, again, we're finding out that the property, this is a perfect example, the property that we're acquiring that we acquired has furniture in it. But a lot of the furniture is this mix and there's no design to it. It's just, you know, the chair here is a chair, it's a table, it's a bed, and so forth. So what we're doing is we're keeping we're getting rid of all the mattresses in that part. We're keeping the frames. Again, you can continue moving around, Nika. I'm just talking while you're bringing it up.
Oh, I'm ready. I just didn't know.
Are you ready? Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we're keeping the bed frames because we can actually change the mattresses and the bedding in it and keep that. Okay. So the things I find the things that are really more expensive, try to see if you can keep them and redo them. As long as like some of the things that we have in these rooms are really small or too big for the rooms. So we're getting rid of them because they're too big for the particular room. And we want to be able to match it up. But I would keep the things that are most expensive, the things that are more quality, and replace the things that are accessories, you know, again, like the lighting or the pictures or the rugs, things that you can actually, it's easy to replace them if you get tired of that specific look or that specific color, because if you want to go to color. So what would you say to that? What would be your comment, Nika? What approach?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at what shape they're in, how cheap they look. You know, something like there was one that, you know, you can definitely tell that it was kind of a laminate and it was all, you know, bubbling up and everything. But then there was like one piece that looked like an antique that was really interesting and different, that you don't even see it anymore. And it was beautiful. So it was like, yeah, let's keep that because it's kind of different. There was in one of the rooms, it was there was a desk that was very kind of mid-century modern. So that was actually kind of cool. It's like, oh, I can kind of build a room off of that. You know, the beds for sure. One thing with the short-term rental that we were discussing actually last night, even about the fabric. So there's one of the beds has fabric, but the rest of them are actually wood or hard. So we can keep those, and they were in good shape. So, but yeah, definitely change out the mattress and put a new mattress and new bedding and things like that. But yeah, just the style of it. I mean, if it looks too cheap, then, you know, I would rethink it depending on who you're trying to achieve, who your target market is. I mean, I would assume that for a short-term rental, you're trying to, you know, make it look as nice as possible because you can get more money for that if it's styled and depending upon your location, I suppose. That's always the case. That's also the case in real estate in general. You don't overbuild for anything. If your neighborhood doesn't support it, don't put $100,000 into the renovation if your neighborhood isn't, if you're not going to be able to sell it for that. So the same thing, if your short-term rental is in an area that you're only going to max out at a certain thing, then probably maybe don't go spend so much on the furniture, just spruce it up, paint it, and, so location is very important in real estate. For sure.
And then another thing too is that you can get a lot of really good quality places at the consignment places, consignment shops and so forth. Places that it takes it's a little more labor intensive, but it is, you can find some quality things as opposed to, some things you get from IKEA. We're getting the accessories from IKEA. Some of the, maybe things that again are, the accessories. But as far as the furniture, the bedding, your tables and things of that type, first of all, the wear and tear. If you buy something too cheap, it's not going to last. They're going to be replacing it. When people are visiting in a short-term rental, they don't take care of things sometimes the way they would take care of things in their own home. They're not thinking about that. So get the things that are more durable, and those pieces that will, that your steady pieces, and then all your accessories could be something that's easily to replace. So hopefully that's a good question.
Yeah. Even Marshalls and things that, Amazon is pretty inexpensive for lots of things, Wayfair is another good one. What is the place?
And I've heard people get a lot of good things on Facebook. I've not been on Facebook Marketplace, but I've known some people that got some really good things on Facebook Marketplace. So again, it's a little more labor intensive because you got to go see it and drive around here and there. But if you have time and you're doing it on time, and you're able to do it. So Terry says, I'm slowly remodeling my house. I have a brown tones inside. Would it be too jarring to do whites and gray on my exterior paint colors? So could you do white and gray on her exterior paint? Could you do white and gray on her exterior paint covers, even though she has more brown tones inside the house? So she wants to do white and gray.
Exterior of the house is a totally different thing, you can, I don't see any problem with that. No.
And there are also some grays that have like kind of a brown tone.
You can pick a warmer gray.
Some grays, there's grays that have like a white tone or a blue tone. Maybe some grays that have some of a brown tone, just to bring your eye to it.
Definitely.
So
but I don't think that it has to be exact. I mean, sometimes people, even architecturally, they buy a Spanish colonial house, and then you walk inside and they've made it like uber modern, Why they did that, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I've seen it,
So she doesn't want people to say like, why?
yeah. But if it's tastefully done, it can, even that can work. You can kind of have the Spanish modern, Mediterranean modern. But yeah. So one thing here, I'll show you this is kind of the design.
Hold on 1 second though, while you're doing that. Demira says, what are the color schemes would you recommend for short-term rentals? Should we stay away from bold colors?
Depends.
See, we're using bold colors in our accessories and our accent walls. So most of it is otherwise black or brown, either wood furniture or some of the furniture is black, whatever. But as far as our accessories, like our accent walls and our throws and our some chairs that you're doing bold colors there just to bring some life to it. Some of the rooms that we're doing are more common, more neutral, and some of them are the rooms that you wouldn't. But some of the rooms that we're doing are rooms you wouldn't do at home. So to me, that's fun to go to a hotel or go someplace and I would not have red or orange and things like that necessarily in my house, but I would like to go someplace I could go someplace and enjoy those colors, or a boho. I wouldn't have a boho room necessarily in my house, but I would like to go and enjoy that. So think of the experience that you want people to have when they come to your room. And again, if you're going to invest in some bold things, a couple bold chairs, then don't make it, big an accessory. I would say. What would you say, Nika? Because we just had that
definitely. That's what I was saying. The colors, even in people's homes, I do the colors and the accents. Like you can do, but even if you do like this one, kind of, we were thinking of kind of doing the black and white theme. So, but in one of them, and I can change that color. In one of the rooms, there was another black and white, but then I thought the accent can be the emerald green is really pretty. So black, white, gold, and emerald green. So you can still have like that a bold color. You can also do it with the metals and the black and the silver and gold, you know, can be classified kind of as a color as well, to just bring some, it kind of makes it seem a little richer, you know, especially the gold right now. White and gold is actually really beautiful, that even if you were still trying to keep it light, that you can do the white and gold is really pretty. The accent walls, that was the biggest thing that I was going to say. And you can make those, we could paint this a color if we wanted to. I just kind of threw this in here for doing this. The best place in bedrooms is to do the accent wall behind the bed. And then we also in here, we're going to have another one. They don't have a lot of choices for the drapes in my program, but we're going to have the statement on both sides. So like have it an accent wall and then do it with the drapes in this one to cover the whole of both of these two rooms. But this is kind of the program that you can lay it out and see how it looks in your space. We want it, there's no closets in these rooms. So this is like wardrobe, and the TV is really high, but it's already mounted there. So yeah, so it was like, that is actually a good place to put, because you can't even put it here, and I just didn't want to crowd the room. So it's a good place to put the wardrobe sort of there. I would have moved the TV. This is what I'm talking about with where to put the TV in this space, because you see there really isn't a place on this side because you have windows. I would put the TV more here on that thing that would turn to where you can watch it, and then it can be out of your way as well, or the person could sit here and still have it on the screen. That's where I would put it for here. But and I haven't even put any artwork or anything in here. It's just, we were just playing with the layouts. But here I changed you want to see this one?
Mhm.
Here's your boho. With a little bit of
That's my
color.
boho room. Okay.
Boho. So big rug. We can make it even bigger, but this was I think it'd be weird to go all the way for this one, but yeah. But then we had little tables. Hold on, let me
This is an attic area that we're making a co-working lounge. So we're
Yeah.
giving the boho theme because we had to have things low, low furniture. So when you do the low, like the big cushions or the beanbag chairs, those type of chairs and things of that type in the corners, we can do the colors like the orange and the red, and the carpet that we have, it has every color in it. And it's like that loop kind of color. So yeah, then yet you still have the solid parts with the desk and everything. Beautiful colors. So, but see how you have that color in your rug, and you have that color in orange in the chair. And you can have, there's like this lamp that we got that I saw even at, I think it was at Home Depot or IKEA, where one of the globes was red and one of the globes was yellow, one of the globes was blue, one of the globes was, so it's multi-globe. So again, I wouldn't necessarily do it in my house, but I could put something there just for fun. Someone else was asking about the designer. The bottom of the picture was Marks, and someone, thank you, Adana, corrected, it's Johnny Marks. And Vicky says, believe it or not, Target has some great furniture and decor online.
Yeah.
Some people I've seen do some things in Target, and it's
Yeah,
not
I
necessarily
like Target.
cheap.
Yeah,
You
for
do?
accent pieces and things for sure. Yeah, I found some really nice. They have great like chairs and little tables, and yeah, Target's actually really good for furniture, especially the smaller pieces of furniture. I don't know about couches necessarily, but yeah.
And tables.
Just be careful
But-
with the couches. The $300 couch feels like a $300 couch. That is the hard part. Couches. They are, they look gorgeous. And I've done it even for mine. It's tough couches to not sit on them. Living spaces is a good place if I don't know if you live in LA or whatnot. They don't have too many actual stores, but they had one in Los Angeles, so I would go because it's kind of an online retailer, but they had one in Los Angeles. So it's nice to go and actually feel the sofas. And then there was another place, they closed that down, and it was called like Urban Homes. I loved that place. They had really inexpensive, great furniture. And then that way you could test which one felt good, but yeah, so.
Yeah, so the thing is that Niambi is asking what colors are more conducive to sleep or best for bedrooms? The colors.
Oh, for bedrooms,
Mhm.
the serene colors. So greens, blues, definitely don't put red in your bedroom. Red is a wake you up. Orange makes you hungry. That's why you see a lot of.
What about that royal blue though? We were gonna put like the royal blue
Yeah,
in
the
the couch
royal
in your
blue. Yeah,
background. As
the
far
royal
as,
blue.
as far as for your accents, your royal blue, if you have,
Yeah, the royal
that
blue is
work?
gorgeous. I love the royal blue. And also, personally, I feel like you can do a darker wall in the bedrooms because it can be more cozy and kind of comfort you, that it doesn't need to feel like a big space. That's maybe my own personal thing. I kind of like to have bedrooms be sanctuaries to feel a little more, this is different in the short-term rentals, like you're living in there the whole time, I guess, but someone in their own house bedroom, you can have it a little darker so it could feel cozier to me. Like I like mine to feel
What
like
do
a
you feel?
cave.
What do you feel about black walls? A wall of all black. I've seen some really beautiful accent,
Yeah,
walls with all
I've seen
black.
it. Because
It's
black,
so
people think that
cool.
white opens it up, but black can also make it recede back too. So I've lived with the black. Had one roommate that just loved black. So we had a black kitchen, but we had a lot of light in there too. So it actually didn't feel so dark. And we had a lot of artwork on that black wall. So, you know, it wasn't so bad. At first I was kind of like, wow, I don't know if I can live with this black kitchen, but get used to it. It's kind of nice.
Okay.
But yeah.
So those colors, those are more the calm muted colors for the bedrooms. What design
Yeah.
programs do you recommend? What design programs do you recommend?
Well, this one, seriously, this one is this is Chief Architect. It's I have to have it because I have to have, you could play around if you just wanted, if you're just looking for yourself, there's a lot of apps, but I don't use those because I've played with them before, because the thing is that when I'm doing this with contractors that they have to have elevations with dimensions. So there's a lot of things that I can make something look pretty like that, but then they don't have that extra element that I need as a professional. So that's why I can't use kind of the lower end things that probably could be pretty quick. Mine is so I could pull in an exact, if you look here in you know, I've been able to have this one client that wants to do this effect, this exposed brick effect on the wall. So I went and actually took the photo and applied it to the wall. So that's what I did for our pictures of this. I took the photo and I applied it so it looked like the wall paneling that I was thinking of. Let's see, the attic. What was this one? This one was just that little tiny room. That was not that pretty. Anyway, but yeah, so for tiles, when I'm doing bathrooms, this was another gray wall. So I can pull in the photos. You can't do that really on everything to see your exact things. You want to check the biggest things for any of these design programs. If you can have dimensions, if you need that for contractors, because you're not going to be able to give them drawings without dimensions for them to build off of. Check to see how big their library is. What I mean by that is these are like my library elements. These are ones that came. I mean, I have tons of different, you know, appliances. But one other thing about this one that I like is that manufacturers catalogs. I literally loaded all of these in from the manufacturers. So that's also kind of cool and important to me. If I would have paid a little bit more, I didn't need that feature, but if I would have paid a little bit more, I could have linked it to exact cabinet lines, but I didn't really need that. So yeah.
What's the name of this program, Nika?
Chief Architect. But it's daunting. Like to learn it is, you know, I mean, I've learned a lot of different design programs over the years. And there was one that I had that was on the iPad that was an app. It was pretty cool. You just couldn't, I needed it to be more customizable because I need to have that to where I can literally change the sizes of things. I could change the color. I can apply things. But if you just need it quick and dirty, just to kind of get a layout and you can kind of change the color a little bit, a lot of the apps work well for that, but I don't know them because they're too small for me. I have to have the big ones. That's why I use this one. This was the best price for as much customization as I could get. Chief Architect.
Okay. So
because they have
Terry
different
said,
levels. So yeah.
So you'd recommend you don't haven't used any of the other ones to recommend. So just tell them to try it and see.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
Okay,
yeah, you
that's okay.
try. The only
That's
thing
okay.
to keep in mind is just try to get something. Look at what the images look like too, because some of them look really They're doing a pretty good job these days, though. They used to be that it looked really terrible, and some of them look a lot more realistic than than others. So
Mhm.
look at all of their images if you're going to research them, but definitely look at how many what their library is. How much do they have? Because you're real limited with the library. Even I still have challenges with this that I'm like, dang, I can't make that look like that. Like the drapes. There's only one drape in here, you know, and I can change the color within it, but I couldn't change it to look like anything else. It's, you know, it gets tough to really make it
Okay.
look realistic. So
Okay, so Terry says she likes TJ Maxx and Ross for small furniture pieces.
Yeah.
And Vicky says that she likes IKEA for couches. I've never had
Yeah.
a couch from IKEA. And then Di Maria is saying, talking about exterior, I do see some homeowners paint their front steps. Is this a faux pas or not? What is the best way to revamp old front steps?
I would paint the steps for
You
sure.
would?
Absolutely.
The
Yeah, I've done that.
cement or wood?
I've actually done that in a flip. We painted the whole sidewalk up. It looks really nice. It makes it a lot cleaner. You want like everything else looks nice. And then you've got like this crazy looking, you know, concrete that is all old and maybe chipped and, you know, that part too. I don't know. You can, I've researched and found where you can kind of maybe like fix those cracks a little bit, but yeah, totally. I would paint it. And if you have brick, they have at Home Depot. That's what we're going to do on one of ours. I'm trying to open this one plan. I can't remember the room number. Which one is the one with?
So we have brick at our house. So how would you clean up that brick?
So the brick you
Golden-
can do the kind of the whitewash on it. And it's at Home Depot. They have it. I have that on our list for our link because we have that fireplace in that one room that's kind of orangey red, but yeah, it's kind of a layering. I don't like to paint brick solid, especially even in living rooms when people just do them white. I think it's like kind of, you know, you can, at least it does help if you don't want to have the red, but I like to do it to where it still looks old world and it kind of has that whitewash to it. I think that that's actually a lot better than just solid paint. But
Well, that's the same thing for the steps. If you have wooden steps, we've painted the wooden steps to go with the patio or whatever the case may be. If
Right.
it's cement, we make more of a stain, you know, where it's not a solid color. Like it's more of a stain that, you know, you still see the texture of the cement and you can have variation in that coloring. So it's not a solid. In our backyard, we have part of that that's a gray painted. I would like to, not now, get that gray paint off because one thing, it's slick, it makes it slick and it doesn't add to the natural. So I'd rather take that off and put like a stain on it where you can still see some of the beauty of the stain of the brick or the cement and then be able to customize it from there. So this is the one with the brick fireplace. So I agree with you. I don't want a solid paint color there. I want either and sometimes you can mix colors. You can do, if you're doing a stain, we mix like maybe the tones of brown or tones of gold or tones of, for a Spanish style home, we used tones of that terracotta color. So it wasn't all solid stain, but we did one level, then you did maybe a darker level and the cracks of the different crevices would pick up the color. It just gives it more variation and it doesn't look so painted.
can you see
And
this? Is it showing the room with the blue bed?
The blue bed? Yes, yes.
Okay.
I see that, yeah. And I see the wall and I see
And then
the
see here, it had the,
fireplace.
this is weird. I mean, at least I had a fireplace in my library, but look at what it did here. It's so weird. There's like little fluky things still that you can't control. Like why does it look like
Right,
that?
it gives you an
And I can't get
idea.
it
It
to
gives you a
change.
great
I don't
idea.
know. It's so weird, but
Gives you an idea.
yeah. But at least I do have a lot of flexibility in this that, you know, you wouldn't have in some of the other smaller little programs, but anyway. So, I wanted to show you.
So,
I'm gonna have to
yes.
Stop
so-
sharing or let me stop share and then I'm going to reshare. I want to show you these panels. This is the quickest way and the least expensive that you can have a real wow factor. You can do it with curtains. That's a big area anywhere there's bigger rugs and with wall panels. So
I noticed that they're taking the curtains, they're not taking the curtains just around the window, they're taking the curtains way up, you know, to the
Yes,
top
way
of
up,
your
all the
wall
way.
and go all the way across, so even if the windows are in between, some of the walls there, we're taking it all the way across to give it that very luxurious look, even in between.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Do you see wall panels? I mean, I'm on
Yes,
Wayfair.
we do.
Okay. Good.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
So you can see that there's all kinds of different things. They're so awesome and they're not that expensive. They're all like this vinyl wall and they can all be painted whatever color that you want. So you could choose the style. There's even these new things that are kind of this peel and stick. That was paneling. This one's kind of interesting, foam wall paneling. But see, this one's even bamboo wall. So it's a little more sustainable. That one's kind of crazy. That's a wild color. This one has even I think this is the peel and, no, that one's not the peel, but there's one that was a peel. They have this peel and stick with texture. See, that one even looks like brick right there. It's crazy. When I first was looking at these wall panels, like a few years ago, there was hardly any choices. Now everybody's doing it. So there's a lot more.
Like this one at the end with the gold, the one at the end at the gold with the yellow, the gold.
Which one?
You just go down again with the gold with the brown. Is that no, you're right there. No, that's like where you just left. Okay, that's okay, right there. Right, stop.
I'm stopped.
All right. No, I meant the one above it. Anyway, we're doing in some of our
This one, the
rooms
silver.
No, not that one. It was one that was, don't worry about it, don't worry. There was one that had a gold.
Okay.
No,
I'll go real
it
slow.
wasn't
I don't see gold.
No, it was yellow. It was towards the very, I think we passed it already. Keep going, go forward towards the end. No, not backwards. You're going back now to where you started. You're going the wrong direction.
No,
Go
I
the
know.
other
I'm
direction.
now back forward. I went all the way forward. Now I'm going down. What's yellow? I don't see anything yellow.
Hold on, keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Let's stop.
Yes.
So that one. So is that like a yellow? Can that be different colors?
This
It's
one?
really pretty. Yeah.
No, you can paint these any color you want. You install
Okay.
them and then you paint them whatever color you want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. This is very mid-century modern.
So that would go with that mid-century modern room.
Yes, this
Yes.
one would be perfect for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think it shows a bunch of different colors. I mean, a bunch of different images. Ooh, that's crazy. Look at that. That's got to be in Europe somewhere. Look at the bed on wheels.
That'd be nice. That would be practical with some people.
Right, I guess, here, move your bed around.
Okay.
It is
I'm going to
fun.
keep going with the questions. He said some of the ladies had the questions. I've personally seen the stones to revamp old front steps. That was Terry says. Yes, you can use stones and different things. Just make sure that it's safe. There's not something people are going to trip on. That's a really big factor. They can walk on with heels. It's very interesting. What colors would you recommend for painting the front steps? Again, I've seen if it's the outside is gray, then I've seen the steps being gray. I've seen black steps with the black door and black, because gray with the black shutters or something of that type. I would have it, there's something with the house, I guess if the house was brown.
Right.
Wooden steps, if it's a cement, then I would either again put it stain that just kind of, depends on whether you want that accent in that front, your curb appeal and that intention drawn to your steps, to your front porch or to your front door. If you want it to be just kind of, nice and play it down, then I would just do something very neutral that was very earthy. Like if you have green plants, I would do something that's very neutral color that would go with your gardening. So the thing just depends on what you want to accentuate. You want to accentuate your front door, you want something that's going to lead you to the direction of your front door. Or you want something that's kind of just blend. Like in our backyard, they want to, that area we took out the railroad tires. And so there's part of it that has pavers and the other part is that gray painted cement. So I wanted this area, which was about 16 feet, to be more zen, putting the fountain there. So I really wanted that granite, that EG, is it the decomposed granite there, but it's saying it's not durable enough. I wanted something, I wanted to break the cement. I didn't want grass, I don't want to lawn mow, but I wanted to break that cement. So I'm looking for something that if I do put cement there, because they're saying because of the water factor running away, so it doesn't run towards the house, that when the water, then I'm gonna put a cement that I can be raw and put a stain on it. So I can stain it. So instead of being white, I can put a stain on it that would be like more of a golden brown or whatever to give it that look, that natural look, as opposed to a cemented look. So I think it just depends on what kind of look you want. Do you want more of a natural look, a Zen look, or do you want a like wow statement from your front door, from your walkway to your front door? And your steps, if you're gonna paint your steps, it should be part of that front palette.
Yeah,
would you
but
say?
I wouldn't go crazy with the steps though. I don't think, you know. And stone is also a lot more expensive if you're gonna make them stone or go over them. You know, it's just obviously a lot less expensive to just paint them. But yeah, I say, you know, keep them more neutral. If you wanted it warmer, then you can do kind of that more of a brown. If you wanted it, I love the charcoal, that dark charcoal. I'm gonna do kind of a gray. It's nice to do a dark charcoal. It's still neutral enough, but can give a pow. I like painting the doors, by the way. I like my doors crazy, interesting. That's where you can like, boom, put a big red door or green door or black door is nice. I like having crazy doors, yellow. Yeah, but you have to make it work. I mean, if it's, you know, but I like having accent doors.
So
But,
Cindy mentions that when she wants to accent an area or make a room pop with color, she'll use throw pillows, candles, candle holders, or a vase. The same thing, throws, you know, again, your artwork can make a wow,
Artwork,
because that's
yeah.
something that's easy to be able to move. And then Fabiana says, hello, everybody. These panels look gorgeous. Yes, they are gorgeous.
So one
Okay.
thing
Yeah,
too
and-
was going to show
yes.
this one, some of these are peel and stick. That leads me to another thought too, that they have, especially for short-term rentals, they have now wallpaper, but it's like that same thing. It's like a peel and stick kind of wallpaper that it doesn't hurt your wall. So it's not like the old time where it's like you have to glue it and then you can't get it off and then you've destroyed your whole thing and it's a nightmare. But they have now that they have the wallpapers that doesn't damage your wall. So it's actually really, really cool that you can have an effect on the wall. If you didn't necessarily want to go to this extent with the dimension, you can do it with a wallpaper. It's back. I love wallpaper. I don't get to do it enough with wallpaper. With
They
glass,
also have
but,
stencils too, stencils. I've seen some people take a
Stencils.
wall and get like a stencil and again, it's done with paint. You get the stencil, you paint inside of it. And I've seen them do it with bedrooms and specifically around the headboards, because I don't have a lot of headboards in my bedrooms.
Yeah.
Some of them I don't have, I use the pillows, so but I can use those stencils to create that headboard look and then put the pillows against it. And then that way it saves me from having to have a headboard and some other, I think like, two.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of the stencils. I always think the stencils look.
4 of our beds don't have a headboards. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I guess it depends
Well,
on what the stencils are. I've just used them all more in like kids' rooms. So I think I have it in my head that I feel like stencils are like.
No, they've got some beautiful ones. They have
Yeah.
some that are beautiful.
seen
like
them,
Fleur de
yeah.
Lis and so forth. So just kind of search around. So I know your timing. I know you have a
Okay.
hard stop. So I want to be able to, then I love all this. So I want any other questions?
Actually, I
people
realized
have?
that thing that I thought I had at 11 is tomorrow. So I'm good.
Okay, well, we have a hard stop at 10:30. So we
Yes.
still have a few more minutes. So what else do you want to show us?
Oh, I thought it was just showing you that. Let's
Yeah,
see.
so yeah, and I wish I had prepared the before and after. I could show them what we did with outside the house, because you haven't even seen outside the house yet, where it had all these big barrels and we took the colored barrels and put them into that. But I don't really have any good, I don't think I have time to download the pictures for that. But what other thoughts? Ladies, you could open up your,
Yeah.
Okay,
How about this
also,
one? Questions? I don't know what else. I mean, there's so many things. It's like I could keep going with all kinds of stuff.
you can keep going, go with the colors. Go
Oh,
with the
no,
colors.
someone
So-
asked about,
so-
can
so-
these wall panels be used as kitchen backsplash? No, especially not behind the stove because they would burn. Maybe you could use it if you just had it as an accent over the sink, but I would want to really look at them like how waterproof they are. They are vinyl, so I think they're probably fairly waterproof, but Yeah, and you really couldn't use them in showers for that reason too, because you can't, there's a lot more water going in. You've got to stay with tiles and they have to waterproof the back of the walls and things like that. You could maybe get away with it in a kitchen backsplash, but not, you would be very, very careful around the oven or the stove because of the fire. You know, you couldn't even have it. You couldn't even have it. I don't think I would put it anywhere like even the adjacent part of the stove because it would burn, it would just melt. It would burn it. Because they're vinyl.
So maybe a wall that's a non-working wall, you know, if you want to do, again, like an accent wall, maybe it's a
Like behind
counter
the sink.
against the wall or something like that. That's not working. Another thing too is that the different styles, like in these rooms, we have 12 rooms and different ones are gonna have different styles of different themes. So some of them will be more metal, like black and white kind of metal because they're really, really small and there's not a lot you can do with them. But one we're gonna have that royal blue in that. One of them is gonna be more of a boho. A couple of them are gonna be more the neutral colors with the bamboo and the large things. We have a couple rooms that's gonna be more of an Asian influence, where we have like a, actually one of the accessories I got was a big black vase, but it has the tree, has, it's like a eucalyptus tree, but it's all white, the white petals on it. So just different, being able to create different themes if you wanted to, if it, for short-term rentals, because again, people like an experience. And they're okay with something that they wouldn't do in their house. Like some things I wouldn't, or just haven't done. I wouldn't do in my house, but I would love to go. I would love to go and experience an Asian room, you know, some of this Asian, because I like that. I like the style, but I just don't have it in my home. Or something that's really, again, like that boho or that shabby chic. I like the style of shabby chic, but I don't have it in my home. So, you know, kind of, that's the one way of being able to, when you look on the different sites like Airbnb or VRBO, whatever, when I look at ideas, I look at the higher end price points. Say, for example, maybe I'm only looking for something that's $200 or $300 a night, but I will look at the $2,000 a night or the $3,000 a night or whatever their highest price point in and get ideas from those properties, you know, because sometimes you can add those luxurious, again, like we talked about the velvet, you have a velvet pillows or velvet throw or the fur throw or a plush carpet. See, a plush rug, you know, it's something that you only anticipate 6 months or a year or whatever, you know, you're okay about throwing it away, but you don't want to do that with your sofas and your hard, your big furniture pieces. So with the lights, so just find out themes. I think it's really fun. And I got a lot of great ideas by looking for some of these high end, you know, properties to see what they have in there. And what you'll find though, is less is more. You know, and I think that's really important that for the short-term rentals, not to have a lot of your personal little things on there. Some of them I've seen that they just like filling up the space. They have little choo-choo train here, or a little bird there, whatever that. Just keep it simple.
No
People
clutter,
need
yeah, for sure.
no clutter. One of
Declutter
the
it
best
and
phrases-
defurniture, like, because they're also, you know, they have their suitcases. I mean, that's one thing too. Keep in mind storage for things that they would be bringing. Have as much there that if, you know, you got to have your hair dryers, everything for the kitchen. Another little tip that I was going to say that I've been finding for our places, I don't think you've even seen them yet, is like next to the side, next to the table when you go to bed or wherever, I'm finding these little lamps now that have the plug-in for the USB, which is really, really awesome. That, you know, because that's, you got to think of when you're out, what are you thinking of, you know, having extra cords for people, because that's what ends up, you know, you forget your cords, you know, like.
Well, I
for
know
your
in one of the
phone.
properties
Yeah.
that we did, that we got the outlets from Home Depot. It was really reasonable.
Oh, you
They
can
had
change
a
them to the USB.
handyman who change the outlets where they have the USB. That way you don't have to worry about any ports. You can just plug it right into the wall. And it wasn't that expensive to make it. Another thing that we talked about is making sure your bedding is white. You know, a lot of people, there's controversy about it, but a lot of people through statistics have said they really like white beds and white sheets and white bedding because they can see, that's where you see that it's clean. It's just better, more evidence that it's clean. And then when you're washing it, you're able to put the bleach or put the higher temperatures to disinfect it or to sterilize it or sanitize, whatever way you want to refer to it. They can do it with white, whereas if you do it with colors, you're going to fade it out over time with that kind of treatment. So it just gets washed more and more and more. But again, you can have a throw, you can have the pillows, you can have the artwork, you can have enough color in the room that you don't, pop it. And then also another thing, especially in small spaces, they say, leave, not every piece of every inch of the room or the wall needs to be fixed. One woman said, I need a place for my eyes to rest, which means that, if you have something on every single solitary wall, it's too stimulating, especially in the bedroom areas, it's too stimulating. So give them a place. So less is more, just really simple, clean, relatively, and then just get a lot of the other tchotchkes or whatever out, unless it's again is part of the look. But also try to just go into the magazines and go online and just say there's different websites that there's one I get, it's called, I think, DIY all the time, where all farmhouse looks or country looks or modern looks, or so there's enough different things out there to show you different type of looks and themes to work with. And then even though the wedding, like our windows have great shades and everything to it, again, we're putting the curtain rods and putting the curtains just as a finish, as an accent, not necessarily, it's only 1 or 2 rooms where we actually use it to actually close or to actually, provide darkness, because they're down, the lower level is the patio level. So for privacy, we'll get the ones that close, but otherwise, even just having sheers just softens the room and softens the space, even if they're not really designed to close all the way. Just shears, just a sheer just softens the window no matter what kind of shutters or blinds you have there.
Someone
Do you think-
also, there's a question in here that I didn't get to, and this is a good one. It says, does the peel and stick withstand the sea salt and humidity? For one thing, they're all different manufacturers and there's probably different levels. I would for sure call and ask them. There's nothing like calling and making sure and talking to the manufacturer. Sometimes Wayfair is actually pretty good too. But if you look, even if you find something on Wayfair, look at who the manufacturer is and call, if you can find them online, then call and at the manufacturer and ask them questions about that. What's the durability? Where can I use it? Where can I not use it? Like, because sea salt, it's a little, sometimes you just have to factor that in that, everything gets eroded by sea salt, like even people like door handles, you're never going to like get one, you can maybe put something coated and put something on it to help out. But yeah, sea salt is very corrosive. So it's hard, very difficult. But
Another thing too, when you get buying things on a Wayfair, it's like, I look at the
reviews.
The reviews. I mean, there's so many, and what I do is rather than reading all the top ones, I just go straight down to the no star or 1 star, and I see what they say. And that way you can just see the whole multiple. All the top ones are going to be the great raving, but if I go to the bottom and there's a lot of them saying the same thing, it breaks or the price is not whatever, then just pass. I don't see it as worth. I just don't have that bandwidth for the aggravation of returning things and things like that. I just make sure, because everything that's there is not good. Let's put it that way. That's not good quality. I wish there was a place where they really vetted the products and that everything there was good quality, but it's not. A lot of them are not. So just sometimes less is more. Get some good pieces, like she said, so you can get, even if you have a small space, or even if you have, a place that's not so fancy, you can make it look luxurious and glam it up with different things without spending a lot of money. So we have 1 minute left. What would you like to say in closing, Miss Nika Robach?
Lighting is actually, I just thought about that when you said that at the end. Lighting is not very expensive, that like for $200, you can change a light fixture and completely change the look of the whole room, so that is another thing too. Just a thought. I don't know. In closing, think of the people, like also just make sure that the durability, that you're getting enough things that you think about them using it while they're there, how they would use it, how things would be if you were on trips, things that you need to remember that made it nice for you as an adventure, an experience, I should say, not an adventure, but as an experience and what you'd want to see, think of it as an experience in that sense too. So.
And then one of the last things that I would say is a tips as far as
so much
for luxury. It's flowers, fresh flowers, or fresh. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive. It's more, let's say, labor intensive to keep them fresh and so forth. But fresh plants and fresh flowers and fresh fruit is a huge aha. So when you think, if you go into the Ritz-Carlton hotels or the top-end hotels, what do they have right there in the centerpiece is a fresh flowers usually. And what do they have at the concierge to check-in? Usually a bowl of fresh fruit. So all the top and just in a tray could be 3 pears, 3 apples, whatever it is. So those little things make a difference, and people do comment on them. And I always have a welcome basket or welcome, layout, whether it's a bottle of prosciutto, and you can get it so reasonable, and some chocolates and a couple of something prosciutto, because it says those little things for the short term that people remember, and they put it in the reviews and they'll say that. So like you said, try to create an experience, let it be the most luxurious experience. And even if it's, again, it's, you don't have to spend a lot of money for that. You can go to Trader Joe's and get those truffles, and people say, oh, I got truffles. And I mean, like, truffles are $1.99 for a whole box, and a fresh flower and a bottle of something and a piece of fruit,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. It's a little extra thing to do, but it makes a little difference, and it gives you that, elevates your experience. Go for the experience.
I wouldn't necessarily do potted plants real.
Well,
that
yeah,
might
well,
be
no,
kind of a
I
little
wouldn't
more to take
necessarily
care of.
that, and because you have to have someone, unless you have, again, a day, like, for us, we have 12 units, so we'll be doing a lot of check-in, check-out, so there'll be someone cleaning every day. So to have someone once a week to go and do those, so a lot of them are artificial. Just have some good artificial ones. Don't get
We
the
have some really
way
good,
cheap-
Michael's has some good artificial ones.
Yeah,
There was
just get the
one room that I did that I used, and they weren't even plants, but I really was like wanting to have color. And I found these like more like dried ones that were very big, and it kind of mixed it with eucalyptus, and then these like yellow pieces, and a big pretty vase that I had in the corner just to really bring in color. But it wasn't real, but and it wasn't even a plant necessarily. It was a bunch of more dry looking ones, but it came out really nice.
Yeah, but you can do that. I have some dried flowers, dry eucalyptus that I mix artificial flowers with, and so you can mix, it's a combination. Just look for those different combinations, look for those extra touches that make the difference. Okay, so thank you,
All right.
Nika. This is always fun. We always like, shopping and designing, and so
I know.
I can't wait to show everybody. We're gonna have to show everyone our before and our afters. with
Yeah, we'll
our
have to do the
rooms.
before and afters for sure. Yeah, because it's going to
Our
be,
short-term rental.
yes.
And these rooms are only 150 to 350 square feet, so they're very, very small. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And until we meet again, stay well, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.